AskReddit by Abel NB. What TV show had the worst ending? Nobody will remember this, but the correct answer is Alf. It was supposed to be a cliffhanger, but the show got cancelled, and they ended the series with Alf being captured and taken away to be dissected. Good night, kids. Eventually, they made a made-for-TV movie about 5 years later to attempt to wrap up called Project Alf. It had virtually no one from the original series besides Alf's voice, and as I remember it, was almost universally panned. X-Files tried to tie several story arcs together that directly contradicted one another and did it with a clip show. Glad I searched for X-Files because this was going to be my comment. Honestly, the last 3 seasons were not great, outside of a single episode here and there, usually written by Vince Gilligan, of course. Talk about a show with highs and lows. It could be the best show on television, and the next week it could be the most senseless garbage you've ever seen. Like Quantum Leap, My Name is Earl ended on a cliffhanger which was cancelled soon after S4. The only resolution given was on the first episode of Greg Garcia's next project, Raising Hope, where a TV news broadcast in the background said a man in Camden County completed his list. NBC had a knack for making bonehead decisions. The director actually talked about how he wanted My Name is Earl to end. The thought was, Earl is very close to finishing his list when he comes across a person with their own list with Earl's name on it. When Earl asked why he had a list of people he wrong and was going around correcting the mistakes, the dude said, I got the idea from a guy who had my name on his list and that guy was on another guy's list, and so on until it traced back to Earl. With Earl thinking he has essentially created a endless stream of people going around and correcting their wrongs and helping people. Earl ripped up his list with that certification. Heroes. God, the writer's strike really had that show go wildly off the rails. As far as I care, that show only had 1 season. Pretty Little Liars, the creator never even knew how it would end. I hate that show because it was great for the first maybe 2 seasons, then just terrible from then on. I basically only watched because of the girls' relationship and because I was the same age as the characters, so I kinda related to them at the time. Stopped caring about who I was pretty quickly. House of Cards should have ended when he got the presidency. It was all week after that Frank had a goal in the first few seasons. It's what drove him. Then he gets it, and his motivation is just keeping what he has. Perfect end scene was when he did his signature knock on the president's desk. Cut to black. End show. Merlin. What the hell was it all for? Exclamation point. Arthur rejects magic and they are back to square one. Merlin becomes an immortal hobo, so there's that. BBC Sherlock. The whole reason I loved that show was the mystery being explained by cold hard logic and the powers of observation. The entire last season was basically Sherlock's sister has mind control which takes effect within seconds. Total BS and I hate it. That was my favorite TV series of all time and I felt physically ill when they just murdered the whole season like that. H. Bomberguy's Sherlock video is the #1 video on my comfort playlist. It's just such a fun teardown one of the show's descent into mind magic bullshit. In Quebec, we had a show called Jeremy. The main character dies in the middle. It went on without the main character for like 6 seasons. Really brings the euthanasia question into light. Is it morally okay to let the body suffer on when the soul has gone? Like that 70s show. Merlin has a pretty horrible ending. Seasons 4 and 5 really felt like the show was beginning to be something special and then it just ends. I thought the show was pretty great from start to finish and actually even got better as it went on, but the big mistake was not revealing Merlin's secret to Arthur like way earlier. Should have been season 3 or 4 when he finds out about it, not at the last minute before dying. My Name is Earl. I know it got cancelled and whatnot, but for fuck's sake they couldn't fucking finish that show. I love that scene in Raising Hope when Bert asks which of the studio executives is from NBC, and then kicks them in the balls and says, "That's for canceling My Name is Earl." The original ending of Dexter. Who thought this was a good idea? The final 2 seasons of Dexter were atrocious. I got through them just because I was invested and wanted to see it through to the end. Dexter taught me about the sunk cost fallacy. There was no need for me to have seen those final 2 seasons. It's why I gave up on The Walking Dead after season 5. There was no reason for me to keep watching and subject myself to the horror of a collapsing show. Jericho. That show had so much potential and they just loosely wrapped it up, leaving me very unfulfilled with no conclusion or closure. Xena, Warrior Princess. 20 years later and I am still pissed off. Eater, thanks for my very first award. I thought she moved to Pawnee to raise her kids. Star Trek Enterprise. It was a fun prequel that looked at the start of the United Federation of Planets. The last episode was an insult. A main character was killed off and it was in a TNG holodeck. Bloody rubbish. I'm still livid. That's what I came here to say. Absolutely terrible ending to a series that otherwise had a great last season. I'm almost convinced that they tried to create a bad last episode, because how did anyone think that was a good idea? Last Man on Earth. The show got cancelled on a cliffhanger and we never saw an end to it. I needed some closure. Closure. All of the shows Netflix cancelled before they could finish. What Netflix failed to realize is that for some people, like me, knowing the show has no closure means I'm less likely to even start to watch the show. This means it's less of a draw to the service. At least give the cancelled shows a special to end on. Teen Titans. Now hear me out. The show ended on a gut punch episode that was far more mature than anything else on Cartoon Network before or since. Emotionally clever storytelling that let the audience down. It was heartbreaking that they chose to end that relationship that way. But they expected a 6th season. To tie off the ongoing rivalry with Slade, tie up every character's arc. It was cancelled on the penultimate season. It had set up all the pieces, setup had finally graduated to the next level of storytelling. Ratings were high. Then bam. Cancelled. Now we're left with a downer ending of an episode. It's fantastic but clearly not designed to be the real end. To this day I'm still pissed off about it. Why did Robin leave Batman? What's truly happened to Terra? What does Slade really fucking want? God, just kill me. Lie to me. Sad it got shut down. My headcanon. Tim Roth and Dr. Foster get together. The 2 of them and Emily are a happy family. The end. The 100. Stupidest ending ever. Jesus Christ. I hate watched the last 3 seasons, because I figured since I had watched that long, might as well finish it. Yeah, the ending was so fucking stupid. I'm still pissed about Bellamy getting killed. I could go on for a while, but most recently, Space Force, asteroid heading towards Earth. Cancelled. Netflix needs a cancelled label on every show they have run for a season or 2. It's annoying scrolling through the shows. So basically, how I lost your Dexter on the Thrones. Deleted. Gossip Girl. There's no way Dan was Gossip Girl. That was the worst reveal ever. Damn, I'm GG. I ruined your lives. Everyone. OMG, how could you? We fucking hate you. Anyways, you and Serena look great together. Can't wait to see you guys get married. This dude literally told the whole city that his wife S had an STD and was pregnant and got an abortion. He told that his own minor sister was a fucking drug dealer and told everyone how she lost her virginity at the age of 15. Not to mention that it was impossible for him to be the GG. We've seen many scenes of Gigi's live broadcasts which included Dan and everyone on the camera. Who TF was broadcasting then? And sent many texts to Gigi and Gigi responded to him. Was he chatting with himself in those scenes? Edited for spelling. Westworld. Because they set it up for a final season that was cancelled. Why were there so many fight scenes? I don't think season 1 even had any fight scenes, and season 4 had at least one badly choreographed Matrix style fight every episode. The tone of the show completely shifted. The final season of Scrubs doesn't count to me. I just pretend it ended, neatly wrapped, bow on top, the second last season. Fun fact, season 8 was supposed to be the finale and season 9 was the concept of a new spin-off show. For some reason though, the network didn't want to do a spin-off and told them to just make it season 9. The show creators apparently also didn't just give people jobs to do. Not even joking, one of their reasons was to provide cast and crew members work to do. Saint Elsewhere. Saint Elsewhere was a medical drama from the 80s that was fairly gritty for the time. The hospital was run down and underfunded, so the doctors were just trying to do the best that they could, even though it wasn't enough, because their patients had nowhere else. Spoiler alert for a show that ended in 1988. The last episode of the show ends with a shot of the hospital in a snow globe that was being played with by a child with autism. The whole show was a dream. In general, I dislike the "it was all a dream" ending because it usually comes totally out of left field and rarely adds anything. However, this particular instance is even worse because Saint Elsewhere crossed over with a show called Homicide: Life on the Street. One of the main characters on Homicide, Detective Munch, later became one of the main characters on Law and Order, SVU. John Munch also appears in a number of other shows including The X-Files, Sesame Street, and The Wire. So the ending of Saint Elsewhere means that like a dozen other shows are also all this kid's dream. Tommy Westfall's mind is responsible of something like 90% of all American TV shows if you subscribe to this hypothesis. The 100. After all the shit they went through, it was such a sickly sweet happy ending. Complete bullshit-amo. The whole last 3 seasons were over the shark. Didn't just have a single bad last episode or few episodes. Weeds. That series deserved better. Series should have ended when Agrestic burned to the ground. It was horrible after that. Any ending that implies that the entire TV series is irrelevant. Don't give me a new Heart ending or a Saint Elsewhere ending. I want to know that what I've just watched had significance to the characters and the narrative. I don't want to be told that I've spent 5 or 6 or 8 seasons wasting my time. That none of the characters exist in their own story no matter what investment I might have made. That no growth or change or learning has taken place. The all just a dream ending can be done well. A Christmas Carol and The Wizard of Oz did it because the dream offered insight into the life of the protagonist. When it adds nothing, it ruins everything. Dallas famously undid an entire season, to the bewilderment of its fans. Erasing your own legacy doesn't feel clever or cute or contrived. It just makes me feel like I wasted my time. And admit it, Newhart did it well. So well that that move should never be tried again. Even though Married with Children had some ratings issues and had some plot holes like adopting a kid and then the kid is left at the DRC's house to never return again. 7. They deserved a last episode.